The football season is nearly here, and we're getting you ready for kickoff. This is Big 12 Media Day coverage live from Frisco, Texas, presented by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Trust the experts at Omada Real Estate. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Big 12 Media Days, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's all brought to you by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home, take advantage of the good folks at Omada to get it done. And big thanks to them for helping us provide 2 days straight of coverage from here at Big 12 Media Days. It certainly has been eventful. One thing I do like about Big 12 Media Days as opposed to some others is they bring a ton of players, and we've had a chance to talk to a bunch of players, including all of the Utah players down here who I thought were really, really good and represented themselves very well. Devon Dampier, Jonathan Hall, Lance Holtzclaw, and Wayshawn Parker. And we did have a chance to talk to all of those guys individually, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed, but we might have a chance to talk to all of those guys together coming up here very shortly. So keeping our fingers crossed, we'll talk a little bit more Utah football. And as far as expectations around Utah, I heard the guys talking about it this morning, Scotty G and PK and Coach Lacombe on projections, and we all get into preseason predictions and those sorts of things. And I know that Houston is on the come. I know that Arizona is expected to have a pretty good team this year, and I told Christian that the folks at Arizona dropped us off a flyer, Noah Fafita for Heisman, listing out all of his resume and all the things he's got going, and certainly is a great player. And I expect Houston and Arizona to be good, but I would put Utah third, I guess, if you had to lock me down on it. But I expect Utah to be super competitive. I know they lost a couple of guys to Michigan when Coach Witt left. But honestly, they lost guys at positions that Utah has kind of reloaded on for years, and specifically on Morgan Scalley's defensive side of the ball. I don't know how much I expect, even though, Smith Snowden, obviously a great player. I expect you miss great players, certainly, but I would not doubt Utah's ability to replace dynamic defensive backs. I mean, they've been doing it since before even Urban Meyer was at Utah, as they've had some really special defensive backs come through, as well as defensive linemen and edge rushers. So I don't expect that to be a problem for Utah under Morgan Scalley to reload and keep that defense performing at a consistently high level. I don't think anybody expects that to slip really at all. And the questions with Utah, as always, have been on the offensive side of the ball. And this year they have a ton of firepower coming back, including their quarterback, who had an extremely good season last year with Devon Dampier, and Wayshawn Parker, who had, after a slow start, had an extremely good year last year. And people end up talking about Bird Ficklin, and I know that Utah has some room to reboot on the offensive line, and of course the receiver room is always a hot topic in the offseason, and count me in. I'll believe it when I see it. For a dynamic group of Utah receivers. But Utah was in the top 3 in the country in running the ball last year, and I expect that to be similar. A big topic, at least in my mind, of conversation is, will Morgan Scalley open up the offense or be a little bit more aggressive? And I expect that to be the case, but I do not expect Morgan Scalley to get away from Utah's bread and butter. And I don't know if protect the defense will be quite as big a philosophy as it was under Utah, but it's still going to be a thing. Utah is still going to be a defensive school based around a dynamic defense. Obviously that's where Morgan Scalley comes from. But, covering Utah with Coach Whittingham for as long as I had, and if you talk to some of his former offensive coordinators, he definitely had a philosophy on how to play offense and how to basically protect the defense. I would guess, or at least I anticipate, that philosophy to change a little bit. And maybe we see more of a dynamic offense from Utah, but I don't expect the nuts and bolts to change. I don't expect them to be an air raid team all of a sudden. And I know that's the extreme, but they're not going to pull a USC and go with a type of offense that is going to take them away from their identity as a school and as a football program. Utah is going to run the ball. They are going to protect the ball. and they are going to make sure that their defense is put in good positions. I just expect the balance of that philosophy to be a little bit different under Morgan Scalley than it was under Kyle Whittingham. And I think that's one of the biggest storylines of the year going into it for Utah, is just how different is Morgan going to be, and in what areas is he going to be different. We talked about, in fact, it was brought up at the podium. We'll hear Morgan Scalley's comments at the podium a little bit later on in the show. But Barry Trammell, who was on with us early in the morning. Barry is a columnist who works in Oklahoma. He was on with us. And we told him, or I wasn't on at the time, but the guys told him about Morgan's stint as a radio host for a year right here on The Zone. And Morgan gave an answer. But I produced that show. It was Dilemma and Morgan. It was the original. Well, not the original, I guess, but it was the Red and Blue show. And it was extremely fun to get to know Morgan, and that was a great time in my career. We had a blast. He was, believe it or not, he was a great sports talk radio host. But I remember when he was going through his decision, when he was leaving us, and he had the opportunity to either take a graduate assistant job with Florida or take a graduate assistant job with the University of Utah. And Morgan, being the Utah man that he is, decided to take the job with Kyle Whittingham. And so that was over 20 years ago now. That was about 20 years ago now, 21 years ago now. And he's been sitting as a graduate assistant, and then as a position coach, and then as a defensive coordinator. And not only do you learn from your mentors, of course, and what to do, but maybe you learn things that you would do a little bit differently. And I would guess that Morgan is no different than that. And I'm curious to find out what exactly he is going to do differently. Hey, sit down. This is going to be really cool. Yeah, everybody. Oh, we can't interrupt the putts. That's for sure. That's been very popular right there. How's your putting? Pretty good. How's your golf game?
I'm not too good at golf. I want to get good. I'm not very good.
I know we're going to throw some headsets. In fact, give us 1 second, Christian. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with this Ute contingent. Let us get organized for a second, and then we'll get back with these guys. Stay tuned. More next. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the insight and analysis of the Cougars, Utes, and the rest of the conference. Live from Frisco, Texas, this is Big 12 Media Day coverage on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Presented by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Trust the experts at Omada Real Estate.
97.5, the KSL Sports Zone Big 12 Media Days coverage continues on. Joining us now at the same time, running back for the University of Utah, Wayshawn Parker, and linebacker Jonathan Hall. Nice enough to both have you guys back, and I'm so excited we have you on at the same time. It's so cool.
Yes, sir. We're excited. Sir. We're excited.
Yeah. So today's gone all right? Pretty smooth?
Yes. It's been going great. Wonderful.
How's it?
Yes.
How many interviews have you done so far?
Probably hundreds. I don't know.
Have you really?
It's probably not hundreds, but I'd say definitely like 50. Like,
yeah,
it's definitely up there, but we've been enjoying it, man. It comes with it.
What's the weirdest question you've been asked so far, like the off the wall? Can you think of anything, or everybody asking you the same stuff?
Yeah, everybody's been asking the same stuff. Nobody asked out of the ordinary.
Yeah, nobody has asked anything.
Oh, all right, all right. I want to talk to you guys about your coach, but real quick. But let me ask you this: did you know that he did sports radio for a year on this station before he became a GA?
I did not.
Yeah. I produced his show. It was called the Red and Blue Show.
Yeah.
Because he was coming off, the whatever it was, Fiesta Bowl season and all that, and he was figuring out what he wanted to do. And so he came on and he did a radio show for a whole year with a BYU guy, which is kind of funny with that, with that dynamic. But I got to tell you, he was hilarious. He was super good at it. I don't know if that surprises you or not, but yeah, he was a radio guy.
What?
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy. I've never thought about that.
So you're going to have to tease him about that a little bit.
Got to. Mando.
Throwing on the headset now, too. We've got Devon Dampier. Welcome back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. I was just telling these guys, did you know that Morgan was a radio host on this station for a year after he graduated?
You ain't serious.
I am serious. Yeah, he was a radio bozo like me.
Scalley is the only dude I know that's done everything.
Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Somehow you bring up yo, Coach Scalley, I just did this. Oh, well, actually, bro, what?
He was good. He was good because he's got a ton of personality, right?
Yes.
And never short of something to say. He's not a quiet guy.
Yeah, no, he always elaborates. That's what I'm saying. It's like he's done everything. He finds a way to actually talk about it and know what he's talking about. Yeah.
Dude, it's funny. You see him at practice, and he's loud, right? He's a yeller. He's not mean though, right? I mean, he's loud and gets a point across, but he's not he's not a butt kicker at all.
Not a mean guy, no, for sure.
They are lying.
That was hilarious.
No, Coach Scalley, he is a great man for sure. He can get a little rowdy on the football field sometimes, man. But
off the field, Scalley's great. If you know Scalley, I'm a little scared. I'm like making mistakes when Scalley watches.
The thing is, he's new to Scalley. I'm not.
Yeah.
So that's new to the offensive guys.
Right.
We've been having it since defense.
Watch how Jono works out when Scalley's in the building and not in the building. Let him say this again. Okay.
Okay. So what do you tell these guys about him?
Man, they already know kind of almost everything. It's a smooth transition from DC to the head man. He acts the same. It's the same exact guy. So what are they seeing now? It's the same thing I was seeing when he was a DC for sure.
Yeah, and I think seeing him as head coach, I got to see the energy of Coach Scalley more. Yeah. And as an offense, you need that too. I felt like we were more mellow on the mellow. And not saying we didn't perform well last year, but just we were more on the mellow side. Yeah. And I think having energy, having that extra oomph it brings a different vibe and a different culture to the team. Right.
By the way, Lance Holtzclaw just throwing on the headset. So now we've got the whole contingency here.
What's going on, guys?
Man,
I'll give my little spiel on it too, man. I mean, Coach Scalley, man, that RS&B culture that you've been hearing from him, man, that was a whole defensive culture, and that was the culture of the defense when he was the DC, man. And now him being in the head coach's role, he just transitions that to a team-wide culture and letting the offense understand how that applies to them as well, man. And man, all we're doing is thriving and growing, and we're getting ready for the season. We're too ready.
Man. So his transition's going pretty well then. He's doing all right?
Wonderful. Yes, sir.
How's he different from Coach Whitt? We can start with you, Wayshawn.
The difference is that he tried to get to know every single player. Every single player, he tried to get to know the details, the personality, the personal stuff outside of football, and that's what I appreciate because I didn't really get the chance to do that with Coach Whitt because he was already on the go. But running into a head coach that really wants to get to know me outside of football is another level of bond that I can see.
Well, Jonathan, and I'll ask Lance this too because you guys are defensive guys. Have you noticed a difference in Coach Scalley at all moving into the – or is it kind of the same?
It's a very, very minor difference. He's not as – I don't know how I'm trying to describe it. He's more – he's not mellow, but he's
got to
more,
be a head coach.
Yeah, he's more of a head coach. He's trying to get everybody involved. He's not strictly worrying about the defense. So it's more of a, I don't know, just a natural thing for him just to talk to everybody, not just the defensive guy.
Yeah, that's probably our biggest change for us. I mean, Scalley's been the defense coordinator and been rocking on the defensive side of the ball for so long that it's just he has to give attention to the offensive side now because he already wasn't. That side of the ball was already getting took care of and had people managing that, but now he has to manage this whole team. So he has guys that he trusts on this defensive staff that he's known forever. He's like, I need y'all to hold this down while I make sure this offensive side of the ball is good. But it's not like he neglects the defense by any means. I mean, those are still his guys. He's a defensive-minded guy at the end of the day. He loved playing defense. So I'd say that's probably a change in there, man. He just has to be everywhere now. He can't just be one side of the ball. Coach Scalley's got to be in every room, man. So people's always asking for him everywhere.
Now, for the offensive guys, I know the coordinator is changing, but do you expect, and we can start with you, Devon, do you expect the run-first kind of offense to change at all, or are you guys going to still run the ball?
Well, okay. Speaking on the question before, that's probably a difference.
Okay.
Just between Whitt and Scalley.
Yeah.
And I love Whitt. I don't want to give any vibes that I don't because that was a good man to me. But, yeah, I definitely think there's a difference in the way they see football, the way they see winning games. I think they see a different way on the offensive side. And I guess that's been shown. And just, I guess, energy. And listening to players in a way.
Okay.
I think Scalley's a lot more just into our opinions. Like, as in, like, just –
he's very open to listening to our ideas and open to change. It's not saying like, we tell him something and he's going to change it, but he's open to hearing things, and he's made changes and he's made a lot of actions to change things around the program.
But, yeah, so just going into offense, I think offense is going to be pretty electric this year. And if running the ball was going to win the game, Scalley's going to run the ball. But I think there will be an aspect of if the run isn't working in any means, we will put the ball in the air.
I bring it up because, and again, we all love Coach Whitt. I'm not trying to,
sure.
but he always had the protect the defense up, right? And he would take that to the extreme.
No doubt.
And I expect that to be a little different, especially based on kind of what you're talking about. But this is still Utah, right? And Utah runs the ball and Utah plays defense. And so I just wonder, and I'm curious how much that's going to change with a new little bit of maybe, let me put it this way, maybe protect the defense a little less. Maybe be a little more aggressive, right?
I think there's a more aggressive side to us for sure this year. Especially, I mean, we brought in receivers. We brought in deep threats. We brought in people that we feel good about throwing a 50-50 ball and, the man balls too. So, I mean, there's an aspect in that, but Scalley's going to do what it takes to win, and, that's why we're all here. We all love a coach that at the end of the day wants to win games, and that's what we're here for.
I'm curious, and I'd love to hear all your answers on this, but I used to do a show with a former offensive lineman at Utah, and he played for Whitt, and he talked about the culture, and he talked about how, at least in other schools he visited, that Utah really made an effort to not have the locker room be separated, right? I mean, we've got offensive guys here and defensive guys here, and the culture was to not have it be that way and have everybody be together. Is that still a thing? Is that something you guys take pride on?
I definitely feel like we take pride in that. We all come from different places. We all grew up differently, but when we come in that facility, it's all like one big family. You feel me? You never know what somebody got going on at home, but you can come to the facility and talk about it with one of your locker mates. It might be a D tackle and you play running back.
Yeah,
it's all connection. I definitely feel like that's true.
Yes, totally agree. I totally agree to that.
Yeah. How do you guys like Utah? How do you guys like Salt Lake?
Oh, I love it. From the transition from Washington State to here, I feel like it's better for sure. Just a town by itself, not even a football team.
Well, Pullman is lovely, but if you
I'm from Phoenix area, so I love AZ, but no, Salt Lake's great. There's nothing to knock. I just love Arizona. I'm a sunshine boy, so when
not as much the snow.
When that snow start coming, it's a different lifestyle.
Definitely, Cali ain't getting no type of snow.
Man, to the recruits, for the recruits out there, man, don't be shy, don't be scared of coming to Utah, bro. Check it out. I promise you, it's different than what you probably expect it is.
Oh yeah, it is very different.
There's definitely a lot that there's a lot that you already think and expect. That's definitely there. That's like evident, but there's a lot of stuff there that's there that you wouldn't even think about.
Exactly.
Well, listen, guys, I got to tell you, and I know you're kind of wrapping things up, but this is so cool to have all four of you here. I cannot thank you enough. Good luck with the upcoming season, and we really appreciate it. And you guys were great today, so thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you.
All right,
man, can't wait to bring that ring back to Salt Lake.
Listen to that, dude. All our Ute fan listeners just did one of these, driving around.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you.
Yes. Thank you guys very much. We'll have more next. Stay tuned. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Yes, sir. Go Utes.
College football is nearly here, and we're blowing out the budget on our coverage of the teams you can't live without. This is Big 12 Media Day coverage live from Frisco, Texas. Presented by Omada Real Estate. Buying or selling a home? Trust the experts at Omada Real Estate. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Big 12 Media Days coverage, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, live here from Frisco, Texas. Man, was that last segment sure fun. Big thanks to Devon Dampier, Jonathan Hall, Lance Holtzclaw, and Wayshawn Parker for all four sitting down with us and doing a segment. All four guys making their their return appearance on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and doing it all at once. Man, that was a lot of fun to talk to those guys. Utah, kudos to Utah for picking four very great representatives for their program to send down here to Media Days. Those guys were fantastic, and to willingly come back and do a segment all together, that was that was sure a lot of fun. And, man, what great personalities and what great representation, certainly, of the Utah football team. And I got to tell you, it was enjoyable for me to tell them. They had no idea that their head coach was once a radio bozo just like me for at least 1 year. So hopefully they tease him a little bit about that. But some things that stood out to me, I thought it was fun to hear the defensive guys, Jonathan Hall and Lance Holtzclaw, kind of talk about what they tell the offensive guys about Morgan Scalley. And you heard Jonathan Hall talk about that. He said because they're not, the offensive guys know Coach Scalley but aren't as familiar with how he did. And in fact, I thought it was funny that even Devon Dampier, I said, Morgan's not mean, he's just loud. And Devon Dampier said, I don't know, he kind of scares me, which I thought was really funny. And yeah, I mean, that's got to be a little bit of a transition for him to, of course, he knows the offensive guys, but now he's got to coach the offensive guys as the head coach. So to hear them talk about getting to know Morgan and getting to know what he was all about, I thought was interesting. And then it took a little bit of reading between the lines maybe, but I thought Devon Dampier was pretty vocal about how he expects things to be different and how he expects the offense to have a little bit more of a different philosophy. And I don't know, for our radio listeners who didn't get a chance to see him, definitely had a smile on his face and was a little enthusiastic about it, and did not, and even said this, did not want to say or imply anything negative about Coach Whitt, and said he loved playing for Coach Whitt. But you could tell, I thought anyway, that he had some enthusiasm about maybe a little bit of a different philosophy surrounding the Utah offense, and maybe not protect the defense so much as was under Kyle Whittingham. But that was sure a fun conversation with four guys who have a ton of personality and sure are a great representation of the University of Utah. All right. Here in the 3 o'clock hour, let's get into some podium sound because things have been coming so fast and furious. We haven't really had a chance to catch up on that. And things here at Media Days are slowing down a little bit. Speaking of the Utah contingent, they said they only had one more stop and then they were done. And so some of the stuff is wrapping up. So let's catch up a little bit. And again, if you're just joining us, we're going to play all of our Utah content coming up. Christian, are we going to do that in the 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock hours for a little on-air producing here? We're going to re-rack Utah stuff. We're going to do that coming up in the 5 and 6 o'clock hour, right?
Yeah, let's do it. We got a lot, especially with that last segment. That was awesome.
So we'll tease that a little bit. We did that yesterday as well with BYU as things slow down here, re-rack some stuff and catch you up on, obviously, BYU yesterday, but we'll get you caught up on all of our Utah content today. Not only did we have all the four of those guys at once, but we had them individually. So Morgan Scalley was on bright and early this morning, but we had individual conversations with Devon Dampier, Jonathan Hall, Lance Holtzclaw, and Wayshawn Parker, not to mention them all together at once. So we'll get you all that great Utah content coming up in the 5 o'clock hour. So make sure and stay tuned for that. But right now, let's get caught up on some podium sound. Let's let you hear from Kansas State head coach and, of course, former legendary quarterback Collin Klein. Here's what he had to say at the podium.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all that you do for the greatest sport in the world. It's great to be back in the Big 12. I grew up a Big 12 kid, and being able to be part of this conference as a fan, as a player, as a coach, and now being part of helping move our game and our conference forward is absolutely tremendous to be a part of. I thank the Lord every day that I get to come to work at a place that has impacted my life tremendously. And our program at Kansas State, my two predecessors have been so much, it's been so much bigger than just the game of football. And yes, we're going to do football well, but the impact of that we want to have and that they have had on young men and setting the trajectory for the rest of their life at an incredible angle, being able to teach them the lessons and give them the opportunity to compete is something that I don't take for granted. This is home for me. It's a dream come true, and so grateful for our administration, our players, and all the effort that has been put in the last 6 months as we build this thing and move it forward. And have 4 of our players with us here today, and just how they have led our football team and bought into what we are doing and what we are building is absolutely tremendous. It's incredibly exciting for the future of Kansas State football, and I'm excited for the season to get started.
All right, we'll start with center left, second row.
Collin, Barry Trammell with Tulsa. You mentioned your 2 predecessors, quarterback for one, coach for the other, great success. How much will you rely on what you learned from each in sort of putting your imprint on the program?
Well, I think it's an incredible situation top to bottom. I think starting most recently with Coach Klein, I think our relationship is very unique. I think it's very genuine. I think both of us have come at everything through the different course of our professional journey, what is best for the other person. And I think that is something that, again, I don't take for granted. He's been there every step of the way. If I've needed something or had a question I know my and our program's best interest at heart. Coach Snyder has been tremendous. Again, I'd be here all day if I was going to go through all the ways that his fingerprints have been on my life, and probably a big reason I got into coaching, to be perfectly honest with you. And all of those little things that I didn't even know he was teaching me at the time, being able to apply those and have those come to fruition through the course of my journey is incredible.
Center right, second row.
Coach Lynn Herring to Stay Alive Power 5. How you doing today?
How you doing? I'm good.
Welcome back to the Big 12. So you're back at Kansas State, and in a world where it's like costs you a lot of money to get quarterbacks from the transfer portal. However, you was able to retain Avery Johnson, who seems like he fits your style of offense to a T with his breathtaking mobility, quick release. His style of play is similar to Marcel Reed, where you were offensive coordinator at Texas A&M last year. Can you talk about the value that Avery Johnson brings to the offense?
Well, Avery and I's relationship goes back a long way. It's incredibly special to me, and I would argue that some of his best attributes are not physical. And I know everyone sees how fast he is and how well he can run. Everybody sees the arm talent and the zip and spin on the football. He's one of the best competitors I've been around, and he works hard at his craft. And he's a very stoic, laid-back guy, but that processor's going and his motor's going hot under there, even though he is very, very calm and collected on top. And I think that's why we got so close and why we fit, because that gives me energy every day working with him, and as we have in the past and now. And I know that's what he gets from me too, because we care about, we both love the game of football. We both love competing and winning, and we both love team. And that's a good combination. It's again, a privilege to be back. The history we have, I think, has given us a head start to be able to get back thinking the same way and on the same page to do what we want to do. And I'm excited for the future.
Center right, third row.
Hey, Collin. Colin Wilson with the Action Network. Not too many of us. Jordan Peterson comes with you as your defensive coordinator from Texas A&M, but he had some time at Kansas before that. How much of this defense will be the 4-2-5, Elko, nastiness, stop the run, everything that they have? Will it resemble that, or something different to match your personnel?
Well, I think in today's world of college football, and with something that was very, very important to me as I was putting our staff together, and then also Jordan and I talking, and then me envisioning that position in general, is in today's world you have to be multiple, and you have to present different pictures, different fronts, and so our ability to be multiple was important. With his experience level and the different places that he's been, feel very, very confident that we're going to be able to put the package together that will fit our personnel and also be multiple.
Center left, second row.
Michaela Booker, D210 Sports. Question for you is, when you took over as head coach, what's the first thing you wanted to preserve for the team and the first thing you wanted it to change?
The transition timing is crazy in college football right now because you're doing 10,000 different things, and when you're in the middle of getting ready for a playoff game while starting to put together a staff, trying to hold together for the roster, I think I was very fortunate, having been here 2 years before, not too long ago, to have a little bit of the lay of the land, a little bit of an understanding of the personnel on the roster, personnel staff-wise in the building, to give me a head start. But the biggest thing was trying to build relationships with the players as fast as I could, and really get to bridge that gap with them to understand where they were at, what they were thinking, doing our own evaluations to see and feel who and how we were going to retain and hold that together. Coach Klein had done an unbelievable job. Our culture has been very, very strong. So a good situation to walk into as a first-time head coach.
Center right in the back.
Hey, Coach. Andy Diedrich, KGSO Radio Wichita. I'm curious about your approach. You mentioned you want this team to have a new old school sort of way to go out there on the field. You were there for the glory days. The fans back in Kansas remember the 90s and 2000s. What does new old school mean for the on-field product?
Well, I think, from the jump, and it's really the only way I know. And I've been very, very fortunate to be around coaches and mentors that have lived that out. And I think there's a level of investment, there's a level of sacrifice, there's a level of toughness, there's a level of grit that sometimes can be unpopular, from a cultural standpoint, or sometimes people don't like it because it's uncomfortable. And that mantra for me is that that's a place that we're going to live. And if there's people that don't like that or make them uncomfortable, then there's plenty that will embrace it, that will embody that, and when they put on that power cap, they will represent it in the way that and be willing to make the sacrifices, work at the level that we need to work, and become everything that they can be.
Center right, second row.
Dan Tortora, Wake Up Call, DT.com. Coach, for your journey to be the quarterback at K-State, now be the head coach, just being on that special road that you've been on that not a lot of people get to take, reflecting on that, what that's meant to you, and then where your faith kind of works into that, because I know you mentioned your faith when you started off today.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. I think top to bottom, my faith, my relationship with Jesus is the most important thing. These situations are completely because of him and everything that he has blessed me and my family with. It's not because of how hard I've worked or how smart I am. It has nothing to do with that. He's made all the pieces and put them in place at the right time, the right way to make all of this a reality. And understanding that the reason and the mission that I'm called here and that we are called here, every one of us, is to serve and impact those around us, and how that is the most important thing. And that's the context that I'm able and very, very blessed to approach this opportunity with. I'm very blessed that culture has been laid for a very, very long time here, that way from Coach Snyder and Coach Kleiman, that it was never about them. It was about the people. It was about serving others. It was about making their life and their situation better while striving for excellence in everything we do.
Time for a couple more questions. We'll go center right in the back.
Hey, Collin. Tim Everson, Manhattan Mercury. I wanted to ask about the two defensive guys that you brought, Wesley and Rex. What's impressed you most about what you've seen this offseason?
Yeah, I think both are exemplary work ethic, character, investment, and care for our team. We've really developed our leadership council through the winter and the spring, voted on that after that to build that nucleus of guys We're waiting to vote on captains until 2 weeks into training camp to give those guys a chance to work and compete with each other and develop with each other, learn one another. And these two guys defensively over the last month in the summer have done a great job in our player representation meetings, bringing issues to the table, helping serve their teammates and solve problems, being sold out to our team concept, and that all of those characteristics translate directly to the field. And so that's I could say, I mean, we could definitely have brought 10, 12, 15 guys that are doing that. I thought those two really stood out over the last month.
Time for a final question, far left side in the back.
How's it going? Wesley Fair, Kansas State football. So I got a question for you. Being a former quarterback, do you find yourself cheering for offense or defense, or how do you go about that?
Well, I think I need to answer that by what's on the line of who wins or loses, because after that dinner we had, I think I remember which one I would want to be on, you know?
There we go. I like the sound of that.
All right, there you go. That's Kansas State head coach Collin Klein. Jake Scott with you live from Big 12 Media Days. Our coverage brought to you by Omada Real Estate. Shout out to the good folks at Omada. It is a Wednesday, believe it or not, because when it's Big 12 Media Days, I have trouble keeping track of the days. It is Wednesday. So that means it's a Win Ticket Wednesday. And let's give away some tickets right now. Caller number 12, 801-575-ZONE. We're going to hook you up with a pair of tickets to go see the Days of 47 Rodeo on Tuesday, July 21st. Tickets are available. You can buy them at utahdaysofo47rodeo.com or simply be the 12th caller right now, 801-575-ZONE. You're going to go celebrate Days of 47 at the rodeo on July the 21st. All right, let's keep some of this podium sound going. That, of course, was Collin Klein, head coach at Kansas State. Let's now hear from the head coach at TCU. We had a chance to talk to his quarterback about an hour ago. Let's now hear from Sonny Dykes, the head coach at TCU.
Yeah, I just want to say, number one, thank you to the media for being here and covering the Big 12. I think it's a tremendous league. I think it's a league that's very exciting. Love the leadership in the league. I think Brett's doing a tremendous job of navigating through some difficult times of what's happening in college football right now, and I think he's the right man for the job. I'm lucky. I think I have one of the best jobs in college football. I get to live in Fort Worth, Texas, in the DFW Metroplex, and coach at a university that understands how important football is, values, winning and winning with integrity. I get to work for people that, Chancellor Pullen is fantastic. Mike Buddy, our athletic director. I mean, to me, those are two of the people that if I got to choose anybody in the country to work for, I would love. I'm just so thankful to get to work with them. Let me just say this. I think the thing that is satisfying for me, this is year 30 for me as a college football coach. Year 16 is a Division I head coach. The more you do this, the longer you're involved in the game. I think the more you realize how fortunate you are to be a part of it. And what makes doing what we do so gratifying is, when you get to bring 6 players with varying backgrounds like we brought today, and guys that have been with us really since the beginning, since we came to TCU and had a vision for that program. It's fun to watch those guys grow up and become not only great football players, but great people. Get their education, graduate from TCU. It's incredibly satisfying. So my hat's off to our players that are here. I'm really proud of who they are, really proud of what they do and how they represent this university, and just really blessed and fortunate to be a part of it. So again, thank you for what you guys do. College football is the greatest game in the world. There's some challenges right now inside of our industry, but at the end of the day, the kids are better than they've ever been. They work harder. They're more unselfish. They take care of themselves off the field. better than they ever have before. They understand the responsibility that comes with being a college football player. And so, again, we're fortunate to all get to be a part of it. So I'll take questions.
Center left, forefront.
Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Star Articulate. Oh, gosh. Oh, my gosh. Stephen Johnson, Fort Worth Star Articulate. Sonny, you said previews before that Jaden checked a lot of the boxes for you guys.
Yep.
As he's been in the building, you've gotten to know him a little bit more. Just what have you seen from him as he's taken more of a ownership of his leadership role?
Yeah. You know, the more I'm around him, the more boxes I think he checks in a lot of ways. You know, we went to dinner last night and had a chance to just visit and talk, and it wasn't really about football, just about other things. And just so impressed with his self-awareness. You know what I mean? I think, you know, I have teenage girls and a 9-year-old son in my household, and self-awareness is a big challenge for all of us in the Dykes household, for sure. And it's cool when you get around a player that just, you know, understands who he is, what his role is, what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are. You know, I appreciate his love of the process of playing quarterback, because it's a process-driven position. I appreciate the fact that he wants to do things the right way. I appreciate the way he has come in and you know, won over the hearts and minds, I think, of his teammates. And he did it by, you know, being humble, by working hard, by not overstepping his bounds, by never pounding his chest and saying, look at me. You know, he's a joy to be around. He's a really talented football player. I expect great things from him. You know, in our program, whoever the quarterback is, we hand him the keys to the program. And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that, and I feel very confident handing those keys to him.
Center left, second row.
Hi, I'm Lacey Hawthorne. We're D210 Sport. Coach, what stood out most about getting credit during the recruiting process, and what gives you confidence that at Harvard will translate to the Big 12?
Yeah. You know, the interesting thing was the way the transfer portal works is, you know, we have a personnel department that is going through and looking at players all the time and evaluating guys and seeing, okay, who do we think is going to be a good fit for our program? I don't know that we knew we were going to take a transfer quarterback, honestly. We had a quarterback that had been with us for a number of years. He still had a year of eligibility. We kind of assumed he would be with us, and it ended up not being the case. And once that happened, our personnel department, you know, came in and said, okay, look, take a look at this guy, see what you think. And you turn the tape on of him playing at Harvard, and you really like what you see. You know, you see a big, strong guy that is making throws that, you know, you go, wow, that's impressive. You see a guy that doesn't turn the ball over. You see a guy that handles himself well. And so the football stuff checks out. And then you have an opportunity to get on the phone with him and start to talk to him a little bit. Okay, what's important to you? What are you looking for? Why are you interested in TCU? You know, and once you got to know him, that's when we zeroed in on him very quickly. The transfer portal quarterback thing happens fast. Unfortunately, it's happened in a lot of cases during the season. And what I mean by that is there's people talking to your quarterbacks and talking to your players and doing all this stuff. It just kind of happens in today's college football. But, you know, we zeroed on him quickly. We had to quickly. Got him on a visit, got around him a little bit. We were fortunate that Gordy Samish, our new offensive coordinator, you know, was from that part of the country, had a background with him. They knew each other on a real surface level, but they knew each other. You know, Jaden knew of Gordy, Gordy knew of Jaden, and then once those two guys got in a room together, I think they both realized pretty quickly this was going to be a really good fit. So, you know, he brings a lot to the table, as I said. You know, experience, maturity, athleticism, playmaking ability. But again, at the end of the day, the thing I love about him is you know, he wants to be challenged. He wants to be pushed. He's all about becoming the best version of himself that he can become. And I think at the end of the day, that's who you want to lead your program.
Center left, fourth row.
Hey, Coach. Jeremy Clark, Horned Frog Blitz 24/7. How you doing?
Good, Jeremy. What's up, man?
Quick question. You went outside the box to find Gordon Samish. You just talked about him a little bit. What was it about Gordon that made him the OC you wanted to have, and what did you see in spring camp that gets you excited to see him this fall?
Yeah, okay. You know what's interesting is you could take exactly what I said and apply it to Gordy. And what I mean by that is, 2 years ago, UConn had a Friday night game, and I'm in the team hotel watching college football like every college coach does on Friday night. And UConn's playing, and I'm watching their offense and know some of the players playing for them. Number one, I thought, wow, I like what they're doing from a scheme perspective. I like their style of play. They're showing their statistics, like the balance between run and pass, like the fact that they have productive runners, productive passers, like the fact they don't turn the ball over very often. So that all that stuff kind of, I noticed all of that. As the season rolled around on Sunday, I would, throw a little UConn tape on and just kind of watch them a little bit. And I'd get to the office Sunday morning and be like, okay, I wonder what these guys did. So watched a little bit of that. Had an appreciation for what they were doing and how they were doing it. This season rolled around, kind of the same thing, followed them a little bit. Noticed, how few times they turned the ball over. Then, once we knew we were going to have an opportunity to hire a new coordinator, Ryan Dorchester, our chief of staff, kind of did a deep statistical study. And to things that we felt like were important, it would give us the best opportunity to win, and UConn kept showing up. And so at that point, it's like, okay, who's doing this? It's Gordy Samish, interesting background. He's an offensive line coach. It's a play caller. There's not too many of those in college football. So anyway, same thing happened. Got him on the phone, had a conversation with him. A quick conversation that was like, I kind of thought, okay, this is really interesting. We need to have another conversation. And as we continued to talk a little bit, it became apparent to me quickly that this is the guy we need to hire. And so we zeroed on him pretty quickly. And so it was kind of the same thing. You look at the tape. Does the tape match? Yes. Does the personality match? Yes. And then we got him here for the spring and was around him every day. And again, the thing I appreciated about him was, there's nothing that happens randomly. Everything has a reason, and it's just well thought out. It's well conceived. I think he's really bright. I just like what we're doing offensively. I like the way he coaches our players. He's a physical, tough disciplinarian, and that's what we wanted, and that's what we needed to reinforce. Some of the things that we felt are important, and again, going to give us the best chance to win. And so loved what he did this spring, loved what we did offensively. Got a lot of work to do this summer. Still a lot of things got to happen. We've got to have a great fall camp, but coming out of spring football, I was really comfortable with where we were. And again, most importantly, with him, even more comfortable, even more excited than I was before we hired him.
Go to the far left side, fourth row.
Hi, Coach.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. So I think
Okay.
moving to. Hi, Coach.
Hey.
Victoria Samuels with Fox 44. Just talking about the year of transfer quarterbacks. You guys have Craig and then Baylor bringing in Lagway. You guys are heading down to Waco this year. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of having that rivalry game, keeping it alive on the schedule, and then also just the importance of Texas college rivalries and playing each other in Texas?
Yeah. Good question. I think, look, that's what makes college football great and unique and different. Are those rivalries, or those games that, our fans remember going to when they were students at TCU. And, their parents went to. And, all that stuff is really, really, really important. It's important for us to do everything we can to maintain those rivalries. Just because of the way conferences are now, many of those don't exist. And it's a shame that they don't. It's a shame that conference realignment has changed some of that, but we have to do everything we can to hold on to them. Speaking of Baylor, I think, obviously everybody in the country tried to recruit DJ Lagway the first time. He had some really, really bright moments at Florida. Did some really, really impressive things. Really talented young man. Jake Spavataw, Baylor's offensive coordinator, I think is a really sharp coach. I think Jake will bring out the best in him. And I would expect him to have a big year and, be one of the top quarterbacks in the Big 12.
Time for one final question. We'll go to center left. Third row.
Hey, Coach. Ryan Myers, Dallas Morning News. As you guys prepare for an international game heading to Ireland, does that change how preparation goes in fall camp and what challenges come with it?
Yeah. So we play 0 a week. So we're, a week earlier. So, it changes our report day. Everything kind of moves up a week. But as you said, when you do a deep dive and look at the history of these games in Ireland, a lot of the teams that have played in this historically haven't performed that well, or maybe not up to the expectations of those teams, at least what they thought they were going to, of how they thought they were going to perform. You look at Iowa State and Kansas State last year, I think, neither team probably had the kind of season they thought they were going to coming into the game, and especially right after the game. I think both teams did a tremendous job of recovering and playing well at the end of the season, but you could tell it took a toll on both teams. And so we're trying to do everything we can, to develop best practices. We've talked to a number of people that have coached in this game, both administrators, coaches, about, okay, what was challenging about this game? What would you do different if you had the opportunity to do it again? The thing that we felt was incredibly important was playing that game week 0 and then having an open week 1. And we were fortunate enough to be able to make that work in our schedule. We didn't want to have to get home at 10 p.m. Sunday night and try to prepare for an opponent on a short week. So we'll have an opportunity to get our players back, get readjusted, and try to hit the ground running as we start getting ready for our opponent in week 2. But it's challenging. Anytime that you break your routine, have an 8-hour flight, there's some challenges associated with that. Obviously, logistically, we've been working on it for a year now as far as getting our players' passports and, getting all the stuff done that we're going to do. How do we get equipment there? All the different things. What are we going to do with our team? How much time are we going to give them? We want them to have an experience, of going to Ireland and get to see part of the Irish culture, but at the same time, it's a business trip and we need to win the football game. And we're going to be playing a North Carolina team that's going to be a lot different than the team they had last year. So they'll be a completely different team. They'll make a tremendous jump. It'll be a very challenging game for us. They've hired Bobby Petrino to be the offensive coordinator, I think one of the elite play callers in all of football. So it'll be a challenge. And so we've got to do everything we can to, number one, ensure that we have a good trip going over. And number 2, that we put our players in the best position coming back to perform well the rest of the season.
There you go. That is TCU head coach Sonny Dykes and his podium appearance today at Big 12 Media Days as things are kind of winding down here in Frisco, Texas. We did have a chance, speaking of TCU, to talk to their quarterback Jaden Craig earlier in the show. We'll get all those up at KSLSports.com. Transfer from Harvard. That was a fun conversation to talk to him about that transition going to TCU. All right, we've got an action-packed 4 o'clock hour for you coming up right around the corner. Of course, we had Morgan Scalley on the station earlier this morning He, in fact, jumped on with those guys in the 7 o'clock hour. We haven't had a chance to hear from Morgan Scalley and his podium sound. We will get to that coming up next. And then in the 5 o'clock hour, we will have all of our Ute content for you today, including all 4 of the players, Devon, Dampier, Jonathan Hall, Lance Holtzclaw, and Wayshawn Parker, not to mention with our conversation this morning with Morgan Scalley. So we have Morgan Scalley podium sound for you coming up right around the corner. Stay tuned. Big 12 Media Days brought to you by Omada Real Estate right here on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.